Welcome back to Fantasy Football Today, presented by Capital One. Here you see the games coming up on Fox for Week 14. Eagles and Giants, going to talk about that one. Got the Vikings at the Lions. Should be an exciting game there, over under 51.5. And you got the Texans at the Cowboys. Will the Cowboys just dominate the Texans? See the line there, 17 points, over under 44. Might be 44-0 based on how the Texans have looked lately. We got the Eagles at the Giants, though. It's going to be a fun one there. Saquon Barkley reportedly is expected to play. That's a good thing, dealing with neck injury. And for more on that big story, coming to us live from MetLife Stadium, it's our own Josina Anderson. So, Josina, we know the big story, Saquon Barkley, neck injury, missing some practice time, limited during the week. How good is he going to be now that it seems like he's going to play against the Eagles?
Well, I was just up the field watching him work out and starting to warm up. Obviously, get acclimated to this weather here as it's 38 degrees with the 82% chance of rain. So clearly that is a factor. But Giants head coach Brian Daboll telling reporters that is the expectation for him to play. Now, clearly we're going to keep watching him through the warm-up just to always make sure nothing changes. And the other thing, too, would just be to kind of keep an eye on how he's able to perform throughout the duration of the game. Now, we know that Saquon Barkley picked up that shoulder injury week 5, and it went through week 6 as far as that being an injury that he was listed for on the IR report. But he was still able to get 2 100-plus rushing yard games since then. And really what's been the difference for him as far as at least starting to get back on track the last 3 weeks has been the return of center John Feliciano and then Evan Neal, who was out since week 7 with that grade 2 MCL. So he was able to get above the 30 rush yards, get about 63 last week. So right now I'm hoping to have an opportunity to speak to him after this hit to get a little bit more specifics as to how he feels. But right now that is the expectation. But one thing that I would want to point out, and the reason why I think that this is something to kind of keep an eye on, is because you have to remember the Giants are familiar with players having neck injuries and dealing with that. Remember, Daniel Jones missed 6 games at the end of last season, had surgery in the winter, was able to come back. But interestingly enough, the Giants did have a running back, a first-rounder that was drafted 32nd overall in 2022 named David Wilson, who only played 2 years because of a neck injury that he had surgery on and re-aggravated in his last year because of spinal stenosis, which is a narrowing of the spinal canal. And so you always want to be careful about that. So clearly with this neck injury, it's something that popped up on the injury report Thursday, and they were able to get an MRI. That's leading them to the comfort as of right now of him playing. But what you don't want to have is what they call a spinal surgery, a spinal event, in terms of him lowering his neck or something, maybe making that worse. So that's something you want to keep an eye on, as well as him, dealing with that shoulder on and off this year.
Yeah, we hope everything's good with Saquon Barkley. Fantasy managers clearly want to make sure he's out there to finish the rest of the season. Josina, you mentioned the weather and just the potential rain and everything that's going on there. It looks like it's cold as well. So talk about how that will impact this game, certainly from, I think, more of a passing perspective than a running perspective.
Well, from at least the Eagles' perspective, they did deal with rain like this in week 4 when they played against the Jaguars in Philly, but they were still able to get over 200 yards passing from Jalen Hurts. Even though he didn't have a big rushing day, that came from Miles Sanders, who had over 100 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. They were able to lean on him, and that's how they were able to still win that game. So would not be surprised to see that some more today from the Eagles as well. And then the other thing would be just, kind of watching is how they were able to deal with the wide receivers on the Eagles. Obviously, both of them, Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, having big games against the Titans last week, over 100 yards receiving from both of them. And even that defense keeping, Derrick Henry under 40 yards rushing. So that's what we're going to be watching for, particularly with the Giants secondary already being hampered with Adoree Jackson out the last couple weeks with that knee injury and having to deal with 2 cornerbacks who weren't even on NFL rosters as of August 30th, and Fabian Moreau and Nick McLeod. So that's another matchup that we're really going to be watching today to see how that secondary without Adoree Jackson again holds up against the likes of an A.J. Brown and a Devontae Smith, who, like I just said, went for over 100 yards receiving, each of them last week against the Titans.
Well, Josina, what about the other side of the ball with Daniel Jones? You know, you mentioned obviously he's been healthy this season, but you got Saquon dealing with a neck injury. Is this going to be a game where the Giants, if the weather holds up, able to throw the ball against that Philadelphia defense?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. A lot of people talk about Jalen Hurts' running ability, but Daniel Jones, despite coming back from that neck injury that we were just talking about, has been able to give this team some solid rushing yards as well with his legs. So I expect them to try to get it going with him in that sense, trying to find the plays. The good thing about it, though, right now, guys, is that the rain has been holding up. In the forecast, it said that it was going to be about 10 a.m. It started sprinkling. It's not coming down yet. So you're right. Maybe they will be able to work through the air and get that going. Obviously, right now, the wide receivers from the Giants is not their strongest suit, which is why they've been in pursuit of Odell Beckham Jr. But at least for their sakes right now, the weather is holding up.
All right, Josina. Well, stay warm there, stay dry. Hopefully you get a good game, and we're excited to see Saquon Barkley playing. The fact that he's healthy is a great situation. So we'll get more from you throughout the day here on CBS Sports HQ, live from MetLife Stadium with the Eagles and the Giants. Make sure you check out Inside the NFL. New episodes drop every Tuesday exclusively on Paramount Plus. They help you with all the insights you need from around the league. That's why it's called Inside the NFL. Check it out exclusively, Paramount Plus, every Tuesday.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.